Hey, coaches, welcome to another presentation for the Football Scoop Online Clinic. Today, we've got former Mississippi State senior offensive analyst and former UConn linebackers coach Jon Wholley joining us to talk about variations of power and touching on some RPOs. So, Coach Wholley, it's all yours, man.
Hey, thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate the opportunity. Hope everybody's doing well in this difficult time, and excited to talk a little bit about football. As Doug touched upon, I'm excited to talk about the topic that I have today, which would be attacking with the run play power and understanding defensive fits, and then utilizing variations of power, read concepts, and RPOs to try to attack the defenses and manipulate those fits. And one of the things I think I've been blessed with is a unique background, having coached, I've coached 15 years, and half of my career has been on offense, half of it has I've been on defense. And for the first 7, I was on offense, and I was lucky in my last year on offense to work with Joe Moorhead as he was just starting to really implement RPOs back in 2010 at Connecticut. And then on defense, I got an opportunity to work with Todd Orlando, Don Brown, and then be the D coordinator for Joe at Fordham University, where I went against this offense each day. So going back on offense this year at Mississippi State was an awesome experience for me, and really eye-opening in terms of how to manipulate a defense and attack them. And just picked one play to do and kind of went with this topic. It's not going to be an O-line clinic, so you're not going to get a lot of technique from that standpoint. But I'm going to kind of go over really manipulation of scheme. So let's go. The first step and the first thing I'm going to talk about is understanding a defensive perspective. I think a lot of times as coaches, whether we're defense or offense, when we implement a concept, we always talk about why we like it. So if I'm an offensive coach, I talk about why we like power, because it creates double teams, creates movements. Our guys do it well. And while that stuff is important, I think another question that you need to ask is, why is it difficult for the opposition, and why would they not like it? And by understanding that, you're going to enable yourself to have a better understanding of how to attack the defense. And when you talk about power, there's 3 reasons in terms of why it makes it difficult for a defense. Number 1 is it requires numbers, as you can see here, at the point of attack. I learned this really when I started coaching. You know, football at the end of the day becomes like the first Oklahoma drill you do at Pop Warner. On defense, if the guard is pulling, as you can see in maroon right there, for me to win without relying on somebody to whip somebody else, I need somebody inside and outside of that puller to execute the fit of the play. If you are short, as Auburn is in this situation, playing a traditional cover 2, anticipating pass in this backfield set, you're relying on one person to whip a block and play both sides of it and make the play. So, for instance, the front side linebacker here on number 61, for them, the defense, to make this play, he's going to have to whip number 61, get off the block, and tackle number 8, because there isn't a defender on both sides for him to get the ball to. You can see a result, it's 8 yards. The ideal situation, as you see here, is Texas A&M. They shave the inside linebacker shaves tight. He spills the ball out to an unblocked trap corner, and the number advantage goes to the defense. The second reason that it's difficult for a defense is that it requires everybody to move on a string in unison. As you watch this example, all right, as number 51 here pulls, both the inside linebackers, I don't know if I can draw on this, both the inside linebackers should react at the same time on a string. Different than a zone scheme, everybody needs to move in accordance to the same exact spot to make the fit efficient and accurate. As you can see, due to the backfield action here with number 21 on the same side power, the front side backer doesn't see the pull, the backside backer doesn't see the pull. It's short numbers for the defense and results in an explosive run play. And the third thing, and probably the most important, all right, is that it requires specific execution of techniques for the defenders. There's various ways to fit up power, really 2 primary ways. The first is you shoulder it back in, and this occurs in a 4-3 defense, or if you're using a weak safety as drawn in this picture. Here, number 44 would shoulder the ball back inside to number 54, and 36 would play the cutback. This is seen, but is not as frequent in college football today. The more frequent and prevalent way is to spill the puller and get it out to an extra number. In this picture here, number 54 would play the cutback when the guard pulls. Number 44 would spill the ball to an extra safety that's going to come down from the outside. The techniques that I'm talking about, regardless of what scheme, will be the same. There are 3 techniques that are critical: the force player, the D end, and the 2 inside linebackers. The force player can line up in a variety of places. He could be a 9 technique outside linebacker. He could be a trap corner or a high safety, as illustrated in this picture. His job will be the same. Keep the ball inside and in front with your inside foot up, and do not let the ball bounce outside of you. For the defensive end, if he's in a 9 technique, he will be asked to close the block and close the space as the tight end fans out on him and reduce the C gap. And if he's in a 6-eye, he'll be asked to what I call, and I'll talk about later, close the C gap and limit any space inside. The front side inside linebacker, once the guard pulls, will be asked to shave tight and spill the guard, getting it out to the extra number. And the backside backer, number 54 in this picture, will see the guard pull and play the cutback. Here's an illustration of a well-fit power. Okay, why is it important to understand this? In understanding these techniques, understanding why it makes it hard, excuse me, oops. Had a little technical difficulty. Well, I'll just talk about it with that for whatever reason that slide won't shine. Understanding what makes it hard. All right. It's important to understand these things because when you understand why is it hard for the defense and the techniques you're going against, it will help you implement variations and reads, and also attack the structure in your base. We talk about our base power that we ran at Mississippi State this year. It was pretty traditional. Our tight end was to block the front side D end. If he was in a 5 or 4-eye, he was going to trade the backside backer. The play side tackle, if the guard was covered, reduce the I don't know why this isn't stopping. Reduce the backside linebacker. If he was uncovered, he would attack the B gap and work to the backside linebacker. The play side guard, if he was covered, he would deuce with the tackle to the backside linebacker. If he was uncovered, he'd work to the A gap to the backside linebacker. The center would block back. The guard would pull for the play side backer, and the tackle would slide hinge. Tradish. The reason I'm going over this is it will carry over in all the variations that we go through today. From a read standpoint for the running back, his footwork would change, but his read will always stay the same. As the running back attacks the line of scrimmage, he's going to press the A gap in the back block of the center. As he presses the back block, he's going to evaluate the A gap. If it is open, due to probably a misfit by the backside linebacker overflowing over the top, he will take it as you see in this picture. He will cut the ball back, get it skinny away from the overhang, and get vertical north and south. As he presses the A gap, as you see in this picture here, and a wall is created, he will then hug tight, looking for daylight, either through the D end poking his head in the wrong gap or the guard kicking out the front side backer, as you can see in this picture, and he gets vertical. As you watch this, and some of these clips will be from Ohio State because some of those people that we studied last offseason, I had the film, right? Here in this picture, he's going to press the center. The backside A gap is covered by number 41, who's taking the cutback. Here, he's attacking tight inside out. The guard swabs the hole. Number 2 gets vertical and gets a big play. Our quarterback will usually be responsible for handling the force player on the outside. He can do this with an RPO or by reading him. In this picture here, the force player is coming from the top down, attacking aggressively. When he fits aggressively, we're replacing with the simple glance that you've seen traditionally. The other way that you could read number 4 to that side, and I think this is different of how we've read power, is by literally reading him with the quarterback. I don't have any examples of him pulling it here, but I think he should in this picture. When teams give you I don't have the ends on. When teams give you a 7-man box, like number 13 right here, if he's too tight, he is not trained by his defensive coaches to take the outside half of the quarterback right here. If number 6 was to pull to this side, there'd be an explosive play. And I think that's another way that you can manipulate a force player on power. Okay, so that's really the base of our power. The first 2 variations I'm going to go over are going to attack 2 critical techniques. The D end closing the C gap and the inside linebacker's fits. When I talk about the D end closing the C gap, his responsibility is first that he's going to attack the tight end, all right? He's going to attack the tight end and wants to knock him back. As he knocks him back, as you see number 56 in this picture, he wants to get his head inside in the C gap, pressing him back, where he closes this gap off that allows 33 to scrape to spill the pulling guard that's coming. As he's attacking right here, he not only wants to close this gap, but he wants to continue to fire his feet inside. So if the guard does come through, he finishes inside, making the ball go east and west, as you see in this picture. This is a technique that's pretty universal throughout the country. As you see in this picture, the common error that happens for a defender is because a defensive end is usually bigger and stronger than a tight end in this matchup, they often get consumed by just knocking the piss out of him and knocking him back, as you see here, 82. But at times, that aggressiveness can become a fault as they open the C gap, as you see in this picture. Here he knocks him back. It doesn't become a factor. But a way to take advantage of their aggressiveness and also relieve stress on your tight end is the first variation I'm going to talk about. All right, and that's called power switch. Power switch is the same as power, except the backside guard and the tight end are simply going to switch jobs. The backside guard will now pull to kick out the end-man line of scrimmage, flat down the line with a kick-out mentality. And the tight end will work up to the front side inside linebacker. If he has a 9 technique, as illustrated here, he's going to work through the C gap, securing the C gap up to the front side backer. And if he has a 6-eye or a 6 technique, as illustrated here, he's going to sell a base block originally and then work to the front side backer. The sell, okay, as you'll see in this picture, the sell of the base block on the 6-eye will get the defensive end to go and engage and begin his responsibility of knocking the piss of the tight end, closing the C gap. But at the last second, as 82 avoids, you can see it gets him off balance. His job is to be spilling this guard to getting the ball east and west. Instead, he's off balance, gets kicked out, safety gets cracked, and it becomes an explosion for the offense. Another illustration here as you watch 82. Here, 5 comes off. He wants to press 82 back. 82 does a good job of selling the base block for 2 steps, gets him off balance. 5 can't get underneath the kick-out block, and again, an explosion for the offense. This is also good versus a 9 technique, but in a different way. It really now more affects the inside linebacker because the tight end has a great angle on him. As you'll see in this picture here, I'll go back a clip. Normally when there's a 9 technique, the inside linebacker is going to shave tight and attack the guard on an inside-out angle, getting the ball to go east and west to his extra player. But when you take the tight end and put him on a V-line to the inside backer, as you see in this picture, it messes up his fit. Does he go try to win underneath him, or does he go over the top, knowing that his extra outside number is outside of him? Here he gets pinned. If number 11 did a better job of securing this block, the ball would split before it ever got to the extra number you can't see that's listed in this picture. If he goes flying over the top, as you see here, number 11 should torque him out. And now the ball splits up inside of him on a skinny cutback. Okay, so that was the first variation of power. The second variation I'm going to talk about is really going to attack the inside linebacker fits. Okay, and we're talking about the linebacker fits. The backside linebacker is going to be responsible for the cutback. As soon as he sees guard pull, his job responsibility is go from his primary gap, which is the B gap in this picture, to the A gap on the opposite side. He will check the A-gap to go over the top if the ball does bounce. This is an excellent illustration of number 42 of Northwestern of staying patient, checking off the gap, and then going to attack the ball carrier in the cutback lane. On the front side, there's even a more pertinent and important technique, and that's what I call shave tight. The front side linebacker right here is responsible to shave tight for any daylight, stay inside out as this hump closes, and spill the pulling guard to get the ball to extra number. He's coached to stay as tight as he possibly can for two things. One, to spill the guard, and two, the guard may not see him, and he could be unblocked to tackle the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage. This is an excellent illustration of this linebacker from Indiana spilling number 66, getting the ball to go east and west for the backside linebacker to come over the top and make a play. Okay? This is an extremely important technique because if you are off by one inch on the front side, as you see number 36 right here, and you go a half second wide, it goes from being a TFL, if he spills the ball right here, to number 34 folding in, to an explosive by him being a half an inch outside. One footwork that we've used to manipulate the linebackers is what we call cross-plant footwork. It's something that we saw studying Ohio State last year. At Mississippi State, we ran a lot of power read, selling a vertical stretch. This footwork is unique in that the tailback is going to go on a hard, strong angle across, selling a vertical path. The objective of this is to get both linebackers to overflow and take advantage of their misfits. Here you can see the frontside linebacker, who should be inside of this guard, felt that it was going to be a perimeter run play, went way too wide, and the ball ends up cutting up for a big play. This is a footwork that we liked for two reasons. One, it got the backers displaced. And two, the coaching point of stuttering your feet, one probably rotation past the quarterback and attacking the centers, but still allowed him to make a skinny cutback, as you see number 22 do here. While cutbacks occur, we saw the most impact occur on the front side linebacker. Again, no matter what the defensive call is, the majority of college football teams now spill the front side guard out to an unblocked defender to that side. The sell of this footwork of number 8 right here gets this front side backer to go 2 feet too wide, causes displacement. While they have an extra number and they have the offense outnumbered right here, it doesn't matter because they're not able to use it by technique, and the ball splits up north and south. Here's another example versus a cover 2 trap team. Texas A&M, they have a trap corner out here. The front side inside linebacker overexpands, ball creases inside. Again, they will have the offense outnumbered, but the flow action right here causes the front side backer to overscrape and results in, again, another explosive run. Now, as teams see this either through film study, or through the course of a game, they're going to coach up their players and adjust. They're going to tell the one thing they'll do is they'll bring the force player down in a tighter position, and the second thing they'll do is they'll tell the inside linebacker, no matter what the action is, I want you to stay tight so we get these fits and we use our numbers properly. Here's an illustration of Texas A&M later in the game doing a great job with the force player, the front side linebacker shaving tight, forcing the back to cut back really for a minimal gain, 1 yard gain. The next variation I'm going to go over is what I call alley power read. This is a play when I was at Fordham that Colgate ran a lot that I thought was an extremely difficult play to handle. On this, it's to complement the cross-plant footwork that we use. Here, now the tailback will be on a speed sweep course, and we will read the forced defender. If the forced defender stays put, we'll hand the ball off to the speed sweep. But if the alley or forced defender chases, as you see in this picture, we will keep the ball north and south and take advantage of a numbers advantage and hit the ball up inside. Again, we call this alley read power. It's a concept blocking one back power with a running back on a speed sweep course, reading the alley defender. for this play, we define the alley defender as the first defender outside the tight end. So on the picture on the right, it would be the Sam backer. On the picture on the left, it would be the rush end. From an assignment standpoint, the play side tackle, guard, center, and backside tackle will all have the exact same responsibilities that they have on traditional power. The changes will occur with the tight end and the backside backer. The tight end, instead of owning the DN like he does on traditional power, will now block down anything from from head up on him, the C gap, to inside. On the first picture, nothing would change. He would block the R in the picture on the top. On the second picture, as you see in the bottom right-hand corner, when there is no C-gap, interior C-gap defender, he will veer down to the C-gap and capture the outside shoulder of the front side inside linebacker. For the backside guard, he's going to pull to the play side inside linebacker. Again, on the top picture, nothing changes from what he would do on a traditional power. But if there is no front side inside linebacker because he is captured by the tight end, he will not kick out the next hole, the next thing that shows on the perimeter, the rush. He will instead check inside in case any backer scrapes over the top to go up to an unblocked safety. From a running back standpoint, again, he will be on speed sweep footwork, and he will have a circle the field mentality when he gets the ball. The quarterback is going to catch the ball, and he will shuffle 2 to really 3 times. And you'll even watch on film at points where Colgate will shuffle 3 or 4 times with their read to get a definitive read from the overhang. His read is the first defender outside the tight end. If he is tight, he'll hand the ball off to the speed sweep. If he goes wide, as you see in this picture, he's going to hit the ball inside on a power. What this does is it manipulates the force player and also puts stress on the inside linebacker. At this point, as I just went over, okay, he should be inside this guard, but the play is going out on the perimeter. It looks the same as the cross plant or similar to the cross plant footwork. It really puts him in a conflict and a bind. Now, in terms of attacking the force player, a force defender is going to be in really 3 general locations. He'll be apexed, he'll be down, or he could be apex, down tight, or high. As an apex defender, as you can see here, we're going to anticipate, because he has leverage on the speed sweep, that the quarterback is going to keep the ball, whether it's on a pressure and he is responsible to handle the sweep, or if it was just in base defense and he attacked the vertical. If the defender is tight down, like a sink down safety or a mugged up linebacker, as you can see in this picture, it's a 50-50 read. If he has his eyes and he's disciplined on the tight end because he has a man, the ball could get outside and there's nobody else really out there because he is the force defender. Everybody else is man on the perimeter. Or he can get a late reaction, as you see here, and chase the ball east and west, leading to, again, another quarterback keep. The force defender could be apexed. He could be down tight. He also could be in a 9 technique. I think this is a unique way to attack the perimeter versus Okie defenses. The 9 technique is usually responsible for forcing a pulling guard. Here he gets a speed sweep action. He chases. Ball hits up inside. It also makes it difficult for the quarter safety, or in this case, cover 0 safety, because he's getting a speed sweep action here. He's chasing the course of the ball. Now he gets kicked out by the guard. Big play. Again, versus 9 technique, tight end will veer inside to the inside shoulder of the inside linebacker. 9 technique is widening, different than he normally does. Quarter safety widens as well, guard pull, hit up inside for an explosive run. The last place the force defender could be, he can be high. Whether it's a quarter safety running the alley, or if they're playing cover 3, in our case right here, a post safety. He obviously wouldn't be the force, but he would be the unblocked guy. Whenever the next offender that we're reading is high, we're anticipating that this is going to be a give, because we have numbers 1-for-1 blocking, and we're going to make the highest deep unblocked offender make the tackle. Same thing here. First unblocked offender to this side. High safety. Colgate push cracks it. I probably would not make him run, because the ball is going on the perimeter. Might as well block the corner and make him run east and west from depth. But again, you can see easy access to a perimeter run. The next variation is the traditional DN power read that teams have been really running for the past 10 years. This is a concept where we're blocking one back power, arcing the tight end from wall to the force, reading the D end and final C gap defender. From an assignment standpoint, it is identical to one back power. The only difference is for the backside guard, as he pulls and he sees the play side inside linebacker go wide, he'll snap his eyes back inside instead of chasing him. Everything else remains the same for the O-line. The difference occurs with the tight end. His responsibility, as we mentioned, is wall to support. As the play starts, he's going to release with width and check the inside linebacker. If he sits inside, as you see in this picture, he will work out to the force defender trying to capture his outside shoulder. If he expands with width, as you see here on this play, he will try to stay on his outside shoulder, allowing the tailback to get a free run out to the perimeter. For his one high, the wall is off. Now he will be responsible to work and to secure the outside half of the shoulder of the force defender. He's going to work with whip, trying to capture to allow the tailback to go. If the force defender gets width and becomes a fading force, he should take his inside arm, as you see in this picture, and widen him to the sidelines, allowing the tailback to cut the ball up for, again, another explosive gain. From an assignment standpoint, the running back will be on a speed sweep course with a circle of field mentality. The quarterback will take 2 shuffles, and he will read the D end, or who becomes the final C gap defender if it is either an Okie 4-eye front or some type of a reduction. If the D end does not take away the sweep by either climbing upfield or widening, he should hand the ball on the perimeter, as you see in this picture. Allow the tailback to circle the field. If the D end takes away the speed sweep by either widening laterally to the sideline or climbing up vertically, now he will keep the ball and get north and south. He will follow the guard's pull, get inside, and evaluate the backside backer. If the backside backer stays home, as he does here, he will go north and south. If he overscrapes over the top, he will cut the ball back. This play, when it first originated, it was probably one of the more difficult plays that a defense could defend. But over time, it's been something that people are more used to seeing. And it's more of a play to me that you get the ball out on the perimeter. Unless a team has a game plan specific call, DNs are taught to now sit at the line of scrimmage and really either hard shoulder the guard or spill him, whatever the base responsibility might be. This, to me, is a play that you want to run when there is a soft force defender. I define a soft force defender in man. If you're running it to an open inside, as you see in this picture, really there's nobody to set an edge to stop for the tailback to run. Now it's just a matter of, can he beat their linebacker on a foot race out to the edge? or two, against two high teams where the overhang you feel is blockable. Blocking the overhang, anticipating this guy is not going to climb or widen, getting a wall on the play side inside linebacker, and making this guy the high safety tackle in space. Again, when the overhang is blockable, it becomes an easy thing. The D end sits, or in this case, reduces inside. You get a wall on the play side inside linebacker, ball handed out to the perimeter, big gain. As I mentioned, when this play was first introduced, it was a hemorrhoid on the defense because people weren't used to seeing it. It's a hemorrhoid, one, because it manipulates your numbers. Technically, there's more gaps than there are defenders that you have. And two, it puts stress on the D end. And it looked typically like this, where the D end would start to close down and he would get nosy at the last second, as 19 does here, and the quarterback would keep the ball north and south. Over time, teams have made it standard where the D end is going to sit, bracket the end, and the linebacker will run inside out to the ball. Where I think it's made the next variation of this play more prevalent, and it's a linebacker power read. It's the same concept, except now the read is a play side inside linebacker instead of the play side D end. The responsibilities from the O-line are exactly the same. The difference being here now the backside guard will not pull up for the inside linebacker. He will pull to kick out the end man on the line of scrimmage. The tight end, because we were reading the front side linebacker, his responsibility changes. He will no longer have the wall. He will just block whoever the force defender is. So as you see in this picture, he's going to come up to the high safety and secure him. From a read standpoint, from an assignment standpoint in the backfield, for the running back, he will be on a speed sweep, circle the field mentality, the same as we've talked on the other perimeter read plays. The quarterback will now read the front side inside linebacker. He will take two shuffles, evaluating his demeanor. If he attacks downhill on a plug, or he is in a slow shuffle fitting tight off the defensive end's butt, we will give the ball on the perimeter to the speed sweep, allowing the tailback to beat him on a foot race to the sideline. If he expands fast on a crossover run, as you see on this picture here, now the quarterback will keep the ball. He's going to attack tight downhill and see the block of the guard. If the guard who is trying to kick the ball out, if he does get wrong armed, he will hug tight to the wrong arm, get vertical, and evaluate the backside linebacker. Again, if the backside linebacker went over the top, he would cut back. If he stays backside as he does here, he will get skinny and vertical up the hash. While this play, you're reading the play side backer. To me, one of the guys that you're really stressing is the backside backer. He is responsible, in essence, for this cutback lane here. But the speed sweep action plus the course of the play forces him at times to go over the top. Here you can see Trace McSorley wants to cut this ball back. Unfortunately, the guard doesn't get a clean shot on this defensive end, and it makes him skate front side and get a vertical seam for about 8 yards. Typically, on this, when the play side backer attacks wide, as he evaluates the kick out, he's going to see the backside backer. If he scrapes over the top, now he cuts the ball back. Again, puts a lot of stress on all the defenders, both on the perimeter and inside, but particularly the backside backer, who, if he over scrapes, the ball's going to cut back right in his gap for a big play. Okay, the last two variations that I'm going to go over, are unique and things that we didn't do a ton of this year. All right, but I think, again, they put stress on the defense by giving the same action but a different read in their inverted power reads. The first one we'll talk about is a linebacker inverted power read. It's a concept, again, with one back power Putting the guard on the end man line of scrimmage and reading the play side inside backer with an inverted read. What I mean by inverted read, okay, is that if the play side linebacker plays downhill, as you see in this picture, the quarterback will now be the perimeter option. The tailback is running his cross plant footwork that we talked about earlier, and he's running the power course. If the play side inside linebacker plays wide and gets in a crossover run, the running back will now get the ball on the power. Take a look at it here. This is a play that, again, was new and probably are looking to see a couple variations on how to do things, particularly with the quarterback footwork. We did this with no footwork. The tailback, again, was on his cross plant. I think one thing going forward you'd want to research is if this guy could take one lateral step just to influence these linebackers a little bit more and to put a little bit more stress on them. But here's the read. Again, front side inside linebacker. If he plays if he plays wide in a crossover run, the ball will be handed off on the power. If he either plugs or plays tight inside out to the ball, the quarterback will keep the ball on the perimeter for a speed sweep. I think this is a fucking bitch of a play for a linebacker, depending on what you're trying to tell him. Again, you're going to beat him up 1,000 times. Shave tight, shave tight, shave tight. The 6 powers we saw before with Texas A&M, Arkansas, and the plays that I showed earlier, all right, split because you didn't get the ball out to the force player. Well, now I'm shaving tight, and now because I'm shaving tight, the quarterback's keeping the ball out, and we have a tight end who could either RPO or block the force player out here. It makes it a hell of a play. Another look at it here. Again, reading the play side inside linebacker. Here in this illustration, he starts off on a shuffle, but at the last second, he feels that it's going to be a perimeter run, and he breaks to a crossover run where actually he turns his shoulders to the sideline and kind of sprints. Here now, the ball keeps out. I think what number 10 does is an awesome job. I like this a little half shuffle and the lean by the quarterback, selling it to get 18 to go out and chase on the perimeter. Here now, 22, execute it just like it's power. What's his power read? As soon as I get the ball, I want to attack the back block of the center and evaluate the A-gap. Is the A-gap open? Yes. If the A-gap's open because the backside linebacker scraped over the top, I'm going to take it, get vertical, again, lead to an explosion. Here, the tailback messed up with his footwork, but you could see the same picture. Again, I like the little half shuffled at number 6. This isn't what we coached him, but going forward, I think it's something that could be implemented. He's reading number 14. Is number 14 on a crossover run out on the sideline, or is number 14 playing tight off the DN's ass? 6 evaluates it that he's playing tight off the DN's ass. He ends up keeping the ball out on the perimeter. You can see in this picture here, number 72 should be kicking out the DN. He ends up going up to number 14 and logging. This is a play that I'm going to go over next. And this, to me, is a visual proof that you can do this from the opposite side of the ball. I'll get to that in a second. Another example, again, reading the front side inside linebacker. He goes wide on a crossover run. I'm going to hand the ball up inside. Now, for the tight end, we switched this up throughout the course of the year. We would either tell him to wall or just block the man over him. The one thing that I would say is that he should almost do a reverse wall. Like on the perimeter runs, when we're attacking the sideline, we wall anticipating that this guy is going to go east and west, wanting to get the ball out on the perimeter. Okay. Well, now, if he goes on a crossover run at this point, we know the ball is going up inside. So it's almost a reverse wall. He wants to just, to me, attack right here and stop. And see if he goes in a crossover run, now try to swoop inside of him and dig him out so that he can't rally back inside for this late fold. If he sits tight, then honestly, either flatten to see if he retraces, chasing the quarterback, keeping the ball, or go up to the next perimeter. That would be probably something that you could research, evaluate in this play going forward. Okay. Here's another illustration of this play from 3 extended formation in a 1 high set. On 1 high, all these guys should be blocking man on. And we're reading the play side inside linebacker. He blitzes. Okay. Number 12, MAs. He should be up here blocking. Actually, we had a third phase going on here. You could do that either way. Right? If he blocks his guy, because we're reading the inside linebacker, this play is a big explosive. Again, I think this is just a unique concept that defensive coaches and linebackers haven't seen, and it complements the rest of the things that you're doing. Okay. The last variation I'm going to talk about, okay, is an inverted D-end power read, okay? As we talked about for the front side inside linebacker on power, right, it is extremely important for him to attack downhill, shave tight, and spill the front side guard. He's really playing off the defensive end, as we talked about earlier. Okay, this is a drill when I was at Fordham, whenever I coached linebackers, I did to illustrate that of how tight you want to be. Okay, well, this is a play that can take advantage of D ends that are closing down and linebackers that are shaving tight. It's the D end inverted power read. Again, concept blocking 1 back power, putting the guard, and that should say on the play side inside linebacker, reading the play side D end. Okay, for the quarterback, his read is going to be how the guard executes his block. We teach the guard, as he comes flat across like this, he's going to evaluate the end. If the end is at the line of scrimmage and closing down, he will go around him and try to block the play side inside linebacker. If the quarterback sees that the D end goes underneath the pulling guard, he will keep the ball out on the perimeter. And if the linebacker shaving tight, he's got an extra number. It really becomes like the split zone bluff play that you blocked, except the guard now is the tight end that's coming around. If the D end plays outside of the pulling guard, the ball will be handed up. We'll tell the guard, again, come flat down the line. If the D end closes, you go around for the mic. If the D end either climbs upfield or expands or stays wide, you go straight up off the tackle's butt. And to me, don't chase the mic. Block the first thing that shows up inside. For the quarterback, again, if the guard went around the D end because it's a spill action, you keep it. But if it's like this picture and the D end stays outside, you hand the ball off skinny for the tailback, keeping the ball up inside. And I'll show you some examples here. Right. Number 63, as he comes around, he's evaluating the picture. Has the D end closed, or has he climbed upfield and stayed wide? He's climbed upfield and stayed wide. At this point here, to me, he should wrap right off number 78's butt and get vertical and block the first thing that shows, as the ball should be handed off and then cut up vertical, as you see here, for, again, a near touchdown. Okay, downhill. The quarterback, we use our inside, whatever your inside footwork was, and we've coached a half shuffle to get a read. Because right now we want to read how this guard, how this D end is playing the guard. Is he going to wrong arm it, as he's doing here, or is he going to stay outside? If he goes underneath, we should keep the ball. The quarterback anticipates the guard is going to go around like he should and secure number 5 right here and gets the ball out on the perimeter. To me, and this is something that we kind of like really minored in, but this could be I think a big concept with teams going forward. And I've seen a couple people online, I think it's the inverted or shotgun spread wishbone offense. They run this play. I think it's a hell of a concept that really can manipulate defenses and how they exchange gaps and fit powers. Here's another one. Again, tailback. Same side footwork. Quarterback is in inside, what we call the map footwork, with a half shuffle to get a read. And he's reading how the guard, does the guard go around the D end or does he go up inside? Here, if it's a great read and the guard kicks him out, he should hand the ball off inside. I think he was anticipating right here that the guard was going to go around, so he kept the ball out on the perimeter. Again, this play doesn't look great, but if you look from the wide, even with the quarterback keeping it here because it's such a unique angle. I only have that angle. Oh, we go. All right, we were doing it with an RPO to the flat right here. You can see these guys messed up the blocking. If they executed the blocking right, the numbers are great. And as he pitched the ball out here, we'd have a hat for a hat and could be a big play. Again, power read. What is the guard doing? Guard's going up. The D end plays outside. Guard folds up inside. Block the first thing that shows. Don't chase if you pull up inside the D end. Hand the ball off. Get skinny and vertical. Quarterback reads. What is the guard doing? Is he pulling up inside or is he wrapping around? The guard sees that the D end is closed. He decides to wrap around, or he should be trying to wrap around. Therefore, the quarterback keeps the ball. You can see the linebackers here are taught shave tight, shave tight, shave tight, fit the inside part of the power. Those rules screw him right here, as the guard could easily bypass this number 7 and secure his outside shoulder. Even if he doesn't, body position is poor, results in a big play. Okay. And Doug, how much time we got left? We good?
Yeah, you're good. Just keep rolling.
Okay. Yeah. And those are the variations of the power. You know, the last things that I put on here were all, RPOs. When we ran power, the RPOs that we run, the first one we were run is that if we felt the fourth player, as I talked about earlier, was high and hitting downhill, we would run a glance. If we felt the fourth player was either an apex overhang to a 3x1 side or a trap corner to a 2x2 side, we would attack them with width by putting him on a expand now route. So if that overhang attacked inside, we would throw the ball out to the overhang for a big play. That was our tight side, handle the seventh man in the box RPO. The way that we would manipulate the linebackers would really depend on the coverage. Our team was a cover 6 team, quarter, half, where this will linebacker, in theory, is responsible to be stressed on the tight end who's going vertical. So here we're running a power RPO off the inside linebacker. It's the linebacker read that we talked about, okay? If he turns vertical and carries the seam, we're handing the ball off to the tailback on the one-back power. If he plays downhill or does not take the seam, we're going to throw the seam, obviously, to the vertical. If this was one high, if it was one high, we would just read it like it's the regular play. This is really just a 2-high adjustment, and that's how we kind of coach it the quarterback. 2 high, you're reading the inside linebacker. 1 high, whether it be man or zone, you read it as the base run play. And then the last clip that I have on here, all right, was another way to run that same RPO. So again, we're going to read the play side inside linebacker right here, okay? But we're going to do it with the tailback going vertical, okay? One thing that I think, when you're in quarters coverage and any 2x2 set, the hardest thing for a Mike linebacker to do is carry the tailback who goes vertical, because everybody else is matched man-to-man, okay? So we're going to run the same exact concept that we ran on the last play. Instead of this being the tight end, it's just the tailback. The quarterback will lateral step, and he's going to read the mic. If this Mike turns and runs, he's going to run the ball on the power read inside. If he either expands too wide, as you can see here, or fits inside, we're going to throw the ball to the tailback on the seam, resulting in a touchdown. We ran this probably 3 or 4 times. I couldn't pull them all up because I didn't have them loaded on my laptop, and every single one of them was an explosive. This was just the one, happened to be the one touchdown this year. So, Doug, that's kind of what I got. I wish I could have done it a little bit better. I struggled to finish it on time, but
all good, man. Hey, on that last play, you're just running downhill power with the quarterback as the A-gap runner, correct?
No,
or is that backside guard? Is he doing the read where he's going to kick out, or
he should be blocking him right here, and we're reading him. Gotcha. So if he turned and ran with the tailback or expanded too wide, we're thrown to the tailback. If he turned and if he ran too wide or fit inside, we're throwing the ball to the tailback. If he had turned and ran and covered this route, Tommy would have kept the ball right here inside. It was a play that we had ran basically this play right here. Okay. Is we read the front side inside linebacker, right? So if he fits tight, the quarterback keeps the ball.
Gotcha.
If he expands wide, the tailback now is running the power inside. We just added an RPO to it. And actually, this play right here, the one that he keeps it on, okay, is, again, the tight end is on a vertical. And we taught the quarterback, if it's one high, you read it like the run play. So you can see here he reads it like the run play. If it was too high, because our team was a 2-trap team, all right, if it was too high, we read the inside linebacker on what he did. If he turned and ran with the seam route, we were going to hand the ball off to the tailback. If he expanded wide or attacked downhill, we were going to throw the ball to the seam.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's the concept of the RPO. It was manipulation of the coverage. Now we just took it to the tailback.
Yeah, gotcha. Hey, for high school coaches or maybe some small college guys, we're going to carry only one variation. Which one's your favorite? Which one do you recommend?
Probably the linebacker read one, because it's the easiest, and I think it's the most effective. You can scheme up the defensive end read one, both one to be fit well and two, like to get the DN to climb. It's much harder to scheme up the this one here, because it's hard to tell this front side linebacker when he gets a wide course like this not to run in a crossover run. Right. Like if you tell him to be slow like this is what's going to happen. He's going to get beat to the perimeter. So what most linebacker coaches in America are going to tell is after the second shuffle right here, you better be wide and on this guy's inside hip. And then that leaves them really a gap short. I mean, he's inside of this. They need somebody that can contain the speed sweep inside here, and then really on both inside here and on the cutback, and they're missing, this alley guy right here.
Yeah. This kind of blew my mind. I'm a big guy and invest in, when we made a big turnaround, invest in power type stuff. So we did the toss read and the swing read.
Yeah, and we have those two with it.
Yeah,
that was really the back fit, same plays, but
and so we invested heavily in that. But I think there's a lot of really good stuff here. So
and that's probably the one thing that I'm frustrated with, because I spent so much time putting it all together in the past 3 days. I almost wish I could do it again and explain it more fluidly, because I didn't get a chance to rehearse it probably as much as I wanted to. I stayed up all freaking night putting all the film together. But you know how it is when you got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. No lifeguard.
I hear you, man. I thought it was great stuff. Appreciate you hopping on, joining us, John.
No problem, man.